I'm Riddhi Nagar. I'm from ITM Business School, Khargar, and I'm interning with the Dorai Foundation for 15 days social connect program that is I'm doing virtually. So, welcome, ma'am. We are so grateful to have you here.
My
We have
pleasure.
Today we have with us Hema Ganachari ma'am, and she's from Idobro Foundation. She's the impact head of entrepreneurship linkages, and Idobro aims to multiply opportunities, partnerships for women, social and green initiatives to access markets, build capacity, create linkages, and deliver solutions for socio-environment impact. And they have their flagship event, Rising Summit. So, ma'am, our first question to you is, uh, what we found is iDobro is a very complex social enterprise. So, can you elaborate about it in a very simple way?
Okay, so basically, what is a social enterprise? A social enterprise looks to not have profit as the sole purpose of its existence, right? Now, IDOBRO has three verticals. Okay, it is social, I will say, because as I mentioned, profit is not the main motive of the organization. What we are looking to do is to impact social change. So, we have entrepreneurs who are, I would say, micro entrepreneurs and who are struggling for a market, who are struggling for uh, improving their product and the packaging, and they are looking to build their own capacities. So one of the verticals that idobro has is trying to help them um, reach their own goals and multiply their own impact, right? So the other part is that we are social, so it means that we are working with corporates on their CSR activities. So we do monitoring and evaluation, we implement their CSR projects, and therefore we do need assessment studies once that is also done. And the third vertical, we also have actually a foundation called the Rise Infinity Foundation. And especially in the pandemic, we have done a lot of work for the migrants, for people who were not having food, people who needed medical assistance. That is what we have been doing now, and that's how we actually connected with dorai foundation many years ago. Dorai foundation is also one of their programs is to work with entrepreneurs and green. So for World Environment Day, where we focus on spreading awareness about the environment, the need to protect the environment, they are also doing the same, and we had connected with each other on that occasion. Recently we rebuilt the connect because we were doing a distribution drive for material that is required during the pandemic, for the police especially, where they were out in the sun. So we had distributed some powders which would keep them healthy, and that we had done through Dorai Foundation.
Sounds very good, ma'am. So, ma'am, how do you help, the struggling entrepreneurs to reach to their goals? What are the specific things which you do for them?
Means you mean the organization, right?
Yes, ma'am, the organization.
So, one of the easiest thing, rather, one of the most critical things for them is that they need to increase their sales, and we provide a platform for them. We have actually conducted over, I think, 1,500 exhibition days for them, where we have given them a platform in corporate offices so that they can showcase their product and sell it. And they need to take an annual membership, and they do not need to share any of their profits or anything like that with us. So whatever they sell on that day is, for them. And that's how they build their own market as well. They keep in touch with people We encourage them to maintain a register so that they can keep doing that. The other thing we do for them is conduct workshops where we teach them how to improve on their packaging, how to talk to a customer, how to uh, promote through social media. How do you do costing? How do you keep records for yourself? I mean, it's very easy to say that अरे मेरा बहुत अच्छा सेल हुआ, लेकिन अच्छा सेल हुआ, numbers are important. If you don't keep a track of how much was your sale on that day, how can you set a goal for yourself? So these are things we teach them through workshops, and also we do mentor some of them.
Ma'am, sorry to interrupt, but can you please switch on your camera?
No, I'm sorry, I can't. There's an issue in the net also, and at this moment, I'm not able to switch it on.
No problem, ma'am. It's absolutely all right. So, ma'am, our next question is your organization is very large and has, multiple national and international partners. So, what are the difficulties that you face while leading this organization?
So, the partners that we have are basically because of the RAN, and that is a collaborative event. We are looking at partnerships for that particular program. Okay, so for instance, when we partner with, let's say, the Glenmark Foundation, we are doing programs for them, we are doing projects for them, and that's how they are partners, and they partner for that particular program. We've really not faced too much of a hitch because the collaboration is basically for that particular program itself, that particular event. So we've really not had any. It's a collaborative. What we believe is that you need to collaborate to be able to create a bigger impact. And since their goals are aligned, uh, I must invite you for the summit so you will also understand how it works. You know, there is no exchange of uh, there's no legal document if that's what you're asking. It's for the particular event that we've partnered, and then the outcome is sometimes a collaboration in future, a formal agreement or a formal project in future, or it could have been in the past also. I mean, yeah.
Sounds good, ma'am. And also, I've received a brochure from your side on WhatsApp. So I have read that, and I'll try to, circulate it so more and more, like my colleagues would participate.
Yeah,
So,
and could also that brochure is regarding specifically for volunteering, because we usually have the opportunity for college students to volunteer for the event, and this program earlier has always been an offline event, but because of the pandemic, it's virtual this time. So I think the students would actually find it very interesting to volunteer and attend. So, as a volunteer, you would be able to attend the program free also.
yes, ma'am, definitely. So, ma'am, we all know that government has many entrepreneurship programs for, women and social causes. But what is the specific reason that pushed you to join this foundation or to know, to serve this category of people?
Oh, I think I got pulled into it, I will say, but it has always been a, as a woman, I've always seen fellow women struggling to um, make ends meet. And when most of our members are housewives, and they're working, they're balancing their lives between, trying to earn a name and a living for themselves to enhance their income. uh, they cannot get out of the house so easily, and that is a challenge for many, and I saw that we are able to attend to this problem and help them out, and I can name quite a few women who have been able to systematically improve their sales, their goals, their lifestyle, and that gives a very happy feeling.
Yes, ma'am. Actually, we like women need to be independent, and people are getting more and more aware about that. So that is really a good thing for our society. So,
Yeah.
ma'am, this new year, what change would you want to see in the society?
Um, to be very honest, I would love to see that more and more people are very conscious about what they are um purchasing uh, as a consumer, because what they see, the world is currently facing a huge problem with plastic, the environment, and indirectly climate change. And I see especially the youth are more and more wanting to have multiple like the same thing. I mean, they would like to have different brands of similar products. They're purchasing online. Part of it is of course now because of the pandemic, but all that is increasing the waste that is piling up. And I genuinely believe that we should start looking at local solutions, at hyper local solutions, where I should be able to go and buy something from my own area, so that not only am I encouraging enterprises within that area, but I'm also reducing the waste that is generated out of plastic, out of packaging, out of, that is something that I would really love to see.
Yes, ma'am, definitely. The same, vision our PM also has. So that is something very nice. Uh, Ma'am, what I think is like the need of the hour is green entrepreneurship. So, what are the green goals you would like to achieve in the next 5 to 7 years?
Mm, so there's one green goal that is very close to my heart, and that is if we can spread awareness and spread with that motivation also to have your own uh, kitchen gardens in whatever space is available. You would actually be providing for yourself. You would be using you would compost your own waste. You would use it for growing the vegetables and the herbs that you might be requiring. And nowadays you do not need to have a lot of space. You can grow vertically also. You can go into vertical gardening. You will be reducing the carbon dioxide, because if you're composting your own waste in your own place, it's not going to the dump. And I see that the building is where you're living, even if it is an apartment in a building. I would like to see it really green. Maybe more and more people could look at recycling the water that is being used. Um, maybe they would, so that you use that water for the plants that you're growing. So it's like a very sustainable kind of you know work from home is another solution that I think could work well, as the pandemic has shown. So those jobs that do not require you to go to the office would cut down on traveling. So the pollution because of the traveling give you more time, so that you can do something more productive. So these are the two things that I think are pretty much green and pretty much sustainable as well.
Yes, ma'am. We have seen during the COVID times, many people have involved in the kitchen gardening because now there's a protocol that you need to wash everything when you bring anything home. So now people are indulging into the kitchen gardening only.
Yes,
So,
that's true.
ma'am, during the COVID, a lot of sustainable businesses had a huge hit. So, what do you think the road of the recovery is?
I think it will depend from industry to industry, basically. I know that certain, like the food industry, didn't suffer and will not suffer. I know that the automobile industry also probably went up because people wanted their own vehicles to get to their destinations wherever. Um, I know that a lot of people bought cars, but some, I think, apparels and jewelry and all these are industries which may take some time to recover. But I'm sure, I mean, humans are very much, I would say, innovative, and they would find a way around. And I'm sure things will go back soon. We'll get used to the new normal for everything, and we'll find a way to make it work.
Yes, ma'am. Things are coming back to normal with the new normal in a good pace. So it
Yeah.
sounds good. Thank you so much, ma'am. We are privileged enough to have you here with us. Over to Saujanya, ma'am.
Yeah.
Saujanya, ma'am.
I'm so sorry. I was trying to figure out how to unmute myself for a minute. My button wasn't clicking. Hey, ma'am. Thank you so much for being there. I'm Chaitanya Prasad. I'm a representative of Dare Foundation, and I'm the mentor of these two young ladies who have been talking and coordinating with you. I would really, really like to thank you so much for being part of our interview session today. Thank you for giving us the time. Uh,
Not at all. My
not just
pleasure.
because Thank you so much. Not just because they are business students, but also because I think the youth needed to really, all of us, including myself, I think I'm also guilty of online shopping. And I think the messages that we had to hear from you were very important. I think a lot of people can benefit from the summit, and having the opportunity to attend it as a volunteer is a win-win. You get to work hands-on, and you get a lot of information. So I think it'll be really good for all of our students. We will make sure that we pass it around. Vidhi will take the initiative to make sure that it goes to as many people as would benefit from it. Also, your message about how we can really support hyperlocal businesses. I think that's the need of the hour. We need to support our communities, and the easiest way to do it is buy from them. And most of the times, that's very easy to accomplish. We just need to, look a little for where we can buy, what we can buy, and that really helps not just support the business, but it also, as you said, helps minimize the wastage that happens when ordering online, packaging, the plastic involved with it. So that's another very important message that you've given us. Thank you so much. And yes, I think we're all getting used to the new normal, and all of us contributing in our own ways. What you said about maintaining kitchen gardens, doing our own little bit. There are always tiny steps that we can take. We just have to stop procrastinating and stop being lazy, and we can take the tiny steps which are actually going to be the big drops in the ocean. So we will all really learn from you. As you might have noticed, this meeting is being recorded. We are recording this meeting so that we can put it on our Dare Foundation platform. As you know, Dare Foundation works in a lot of different sectors with a lot of students, with the youth. And we really felt that recording and passing on this interview will help a lot more people. So we're recording this, and this will be posted on social media platform to inspire, motivate, and create awareness in not just the youth, but the rest of the population as well. Thank you so much, Hema ma'am, for joining us today. It was an
So,
absolute pleasure hearing you talk. It was very inspiring.